with Tracy in LA. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Dance Journey. Today we have Kelly Etter, and I'm so excited to introduce you guys to her because I know a lot of my current dance friends don't know who she is, although actually I have told a few people a little bit of your story because I just thought it was so cool. I'm so excited to finally get to hear Kelly's more full story today because I met Kelly. Actually, we go to the same church. We were on our church's women's retreat, which was, when was that? Last March or April? March. There's a few hundred people at this event. 25. And I just happened to it was the first dinner. So we're there for the weekend. Mm-hmm. And I just happened to sit next to Kelly the first meal out of everybody, 300 whatever people there, that were there, which I think is so funny because we're sitting there and just saying hi or whatever. And I think my friend Katie, you knew her.
I had met her at something.
Okay. Yeah. So Katie and I are good friends, and she did know, I guess, a little bit of your story, mm-hmm. and she knows what I do, and I dance and have a podcast and everything. So it was funny because I think Katie was like, oh yeah, Kelly, tell Tracy a little bit about your life or something. And then Kelly starts telling me this, we're going to get into it because it's such a cool story. But basically she used to be a Rockette, which is
a while ago.
Yeah, I guess it was a while ago, but professional dancer, former professional dancer. And that's not the only cool part. I mean, that's cool in itself, but there's a really cool story of how that happened. And so I can't wait. I don't want you to tell it yet.
Okay.
I want to
Yeah,
I want to go back.
You lead.
I want you to start from the beginning for that one. But yeah, so basically she just started telling me a little bit of her story, and then I was just I was so entranced by it, and she didn't know yet that I had a podcast, or I think I told you at some point, but I was like, oh my gosh, can you be on my podcast? And you pretty much said yes, right away, or you're like, I think so. You're like, I've been sharing my story. I remember you saying I've been sharing my story more.
A little bit more, yeah, because I used to be a dancer. Don't make me talk. Don't make me sing.
Oh.
I could hide the nerves moving around dancing. It's harder to hide them speaking or singing because it affects your breath.
That's so interesting. I'm kind of the opposite. Maybe not. Maybe not with singing, but I'm I'm less nervous talking, and I get really nervous dancing. But I love dancing. But I'm not a professional. But yeah. So that was just really cool. And then since then we have stayed in contact, but we're both so busy. I was looking back through our emails to kind of remember everything that I've learned about you so far. And I'm like, wow, we have a lot of emails where we both start out, so sorry for the delay. Life's been crazy. Right? We both did that for months.
Yeah.
We kept trying to schedule it.
Of those.
So I'm like, this is finally happening today. And it's so cool because Kelly is she's a former professional dancer, currently a Pilates instructor. Do you call it Pilates instructor?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Teacher, instructor, trainer. I don't get bent out of shape about one or the other.
There's different words.
Yeah, they're different words.
And I have never actually done Pilates with a reformer before, and I've only even done a little bit of mat Pilates in the past. I was telling Kelly, so I was like, yeah, we could take a dance class together, or if you want to give me a Pilates session.
That was very cute the way you did it.
And we thought, she was kind of down for either, but then we ended up just going with the Pilates thing. And so actually we've got a Pilates session today. We just did that, and that was really cool. So let me see if I can remember. We used a reformer. Mm-hmm. It's called a Cadillac.
Yep.
And then, the Wunda chair. Am I saying that right?
You're saying it right. Some people think it's Wonder, but it's Wunda.
Yeah. Named
after Kathy Wunda. She was a student of Joe Pilates who had broken her back. And so she came to him saying, I can't lie down. I can't do the mat work. And so he said, don't worry, we'll fix it, and created this piece of equipment for her so she could do her workouts sitting and standing.
Wow. Yeah, Kelly was telling me that story when we were inside, and it's that chair, that Wunda chair, is really cool. It's wonderful.
But it's wonderful, it's marvelous. Right? Let's get into music theater now.
You're like, I'd be more comfortable if we just sang the rest of the podcast. No, not me. That was really cool. Actually, I think that was my favorite piece of equipment. I was a little scared. I was like, I wanted her to take a video of me, and I was like, but I also want you to spot me. Can you do both? No. So she spotted me at first. Then I felt a little more comfortable, and then she took a video. But
So watch for that.
Yeah. So it was cool. I currently right this second in my life, I can't do Pilates regularly, but I would love to do it in the future because it is really cool how you can feel the different muscles working, and when you're like explaining to me what to do, it's like, oh, I could see this really benefiting me if I was doing it like regularly and getting better and doing like stronger, making it, like harder or whatever. But today was really cool just to like, thank you for giving me the intro, the tour,
You're
and like
welcome.
just trying different machines.
It was fun, and you've got great body awareness, good connection. I didn't have to give you cues more than once. It was awesome. It was a treat.
I was like, oh, because I was so kind of relaxed when I got here, and when you were telling me different things to do, I was like, oh, Tracy, put on your choreography brain for a second, because I was like, I do have to kind of remember my brain was kind of shut off at first, but no, that was really, really cool. And then you also worked, what was it called that we did?
And then I also, you were already pretty relaxed, and then I led you through some nervous system nurturing work. Vagus nerve toning, and then additional nervous system nurturing work, because I thought about saving it till the end, but I was like, well, but she might be relaxed after the Pilates work. I mean, people usually say, oh, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
Right, partway through, they may be like, oh, I'm so tired, or I didn't really want to come today, or whatever. But then by the end, they're like, oh, that's why I came. I feel so much better.
Yeah,
So
that was cool. It was a lot of different, like, touching of your face, kind of like rubbing of, I don't know, you were explaining to me the different, like, parts and stuff.
How much do you want me to geek out on that, or do you want to keep moving?
We're gonna talk. Yeah, I know. We're gonna talk, like, maybe just a brief explanation of it.
So, the fight or flight response we get is our sympathetic nervous system, and the vagus nerve it's the 10th cranial nerve, I believe. It runs from the base of the brain in 2 branches in front of the bones of our neck, behind the vocal cords, down to our sternum, and branches to all our major organ systems. And it kind of acts like the brakes in the car. When we feel that revving up, why we can do some of these motions, some face massage, some neck and shoulder massage, some making sounds, because the vagus nerve is behind the vocal cords. That helps to hydrate them. And then that in turn helps to slow down that, I call it a vibration. Technically, it's called upregulation. So it's something that you can do in the moment, but it's also something just like, working out, keeping your muscles toned, why you can keep the nervous system toned and do a brief, every morning, about 8 minutes I spend on the nervous system work, and it's really helped me get through. We'll get into some of my stuff, but it's really helped me get through some stuff. Wow,
that's so cool. I know, actually, just like even the massaging of the jaw, my jaw definitely gets really tight. I lean towards like anxiety and stress, although I feel like God has like helped me to not be so much in that direction, but that is sort of like, I think it's in my genes. Like, my family is just like that, and I tend to be like that. So my jaw does get really tight. And then it's interesting when you were saying to like be like or and like how that sounding massages, or I don't remember what you said with the vagus nerve, because I remember so I have had bad migraines in the past and still get them sometimes, and like one time it was so bad I had to go to the ER, and my nausea was bad. And I remember that the whole time I was sitting in the waiting room, which was way too long, I was just going, and I didn't even know why I was doing it. I just knew that it was the only thing that was a little bit helping, because I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink. It was just so bad. The nausea was so bad. Ugh. But my roommate was with me, helping me, and she did tell me later, because she's a therapist, and I guess she knows she has some knowledge about the body and stuff. Yeah. And she was like, yeah, actually doing that does soothe a little bit. And so that was, when you said that, I was like, hey, I learned that before.
Yeah, isn't that cool? And isn't it cool how God designed us that you naturally did that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
like, how did I know? I have no idea. I just was like, I have to make this noise for some reason. And I remember telling my roommate in the waiting room, because I felt so weird, but I was just like, this is helping me. I just have to keep doing this. And whoever was sitting near me for 2 hours, I was just like, I'm like, I'm not just trying to be dramatic. It's just the only thing helping
that helps. Yes.
So that was really cool. And yeah, so that's kind of what do you want to share any more about kind of your current state of life and what you're doing or what's going on?
Sure.
Yeah.
Currently, I am working with I am recovering, rebuilding from the Eaton wildfires. They burnt down my house, and my Pilates studio was behind my home.
Mm.
So I'm navigating that. The nervous system work has been essential. And initially, actually, when I was hijacked by fear and grief and waking up in the middle of the night, some people have boogeymen. Well, my boogeyman was the fires and the anxiety about that. Why I was getting on Facebook and doing Facebook Lives, walking myself and anybody else who would benefit from it through some of those same techniques I did with you, some of the nervous system work. I've been able to continue to work with some of my clients over Zoom. If there's a silver lining to the COVID lockdown, why a number of my clients realized that, okay, I can still get a really good session over Zoom. So I've been able to do that. I've been able to help cover some shifts for a local Pilates studio, and then also in open times invite some of my peeps in. I also actually really close to the fires. My brother and his wife run a yoga studio in South Pasadena, so they sent me their schedule and said, anytime we don't have a class already booked, you can do something. So initially I offered 2 or 3 pro bono nervous system nurturing work and then a Pilates session. And so, yeah, I'm keeping on and doing my own nervous system work, but then offering it to others to try and help give tools. Sometimes we try to think our way out of that stress and anxiety, and that rarely is helpful because it's our body responds first, right? Our body goes into that fight or flight. And so being able to do some of these gentle movements or breathing techniques or the vagus nerve toning can help calm the body, and then that makes it easier for our mind to be receptive to more positive thoughts instead of the fear.
Oh, that's so interesting. That's really cool. I guess that's also probably goes with why people do like movement therapy or dance therapy, which I don't know a ton about, but I would think that is kind of related.
It is, yes.
That's really cool. And yeah, I mean, that was the other thing she shared with me when we met, because first she shared with me the really cool story of how she got into dance, which we're still going to get into. But then
suspense.
Also that her house and her business basically burned down, and I was like, oh my goodness, I actually hadn't. So I did evacuate during that time because I was in Pasadena, but I didn't actually know anyone personally whose house burned down, which I was kind of surprised about. But so I think you were the first one that I met who actually said like your whole house burned down, and I was like, oh my gosh, like wow.
Yeah, everything. It's still pretty surreal. It's still surreal.
Yeah, it still kind of wasn't that far away.
Right. Well, that's what's wild is on one hand, it wasn't that far away. On the other hand, it's October. It was 10 months ago.
I guess. Okay.
Right?
Time is
It's
flying.
just,
Yeah.
It's so odd how time can be flying and in slow motion all at once. So, yeah, it was difficult. And I think, I don't remember, I may be flip-flopping the numbers, but from our church, it was either 34 or 43 were affected by the fire.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Some just damaged, but many, many, many lost everything.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was pretty wild. And it's somebody from my Bible study table, actually. We had evacuated, got very late notice. That was a whole snafu, if I can use that. And so we didn't evacuate until about 10 p.m. Tuesday night. Basically, when the electricity went off and I saw the red plumes of smoke coming. Yeah, I talk with my hands, so I'm just using this one.
Yeah, no, that's great. You're following directions
I'm
very well.
myself.
I was like, if you're a gesturer, try to use your hand that's not on the mic, and she's doing
I'm going
so
all
great
over the
about
place.
that. Wow. So did you have to leave pretty quickly?
We had to leave very quickly.
Wow.
I couldn't even. I had a family heirloom. It was an antique china doll, and the ones with blonde hair are more rare. And it was in an antique clock case that my great uncle had put her in, and the house was earthquake proofed, not fireproof. So I tried to get her off the wall, and it was like, okay, gotta go. So that's probably the hardest, is not grabbing my mom's artwork, not grabbing my son's artwork, and not getting the main family heirloom.
Wow.
Yeah, that was hard.
Ugh.
That was hard.
And so I think you were kind of saying this a little bit when we were in the studio, but how do you feel now compared to like when it just happened? Like as far as like emotionally, like
I'm more emotionally regulated. I mean, it starts to get, if I put myself totally in it again, then it'll still bring up tears.
Yeah.
But then it was much more of it was much harder to get through a conversation without being in tears.
Yeah.
It was just, it's something one never imagines will happen to them, right? And yeah, to get a phone call. So we were fortunate. My husband got a close friend who is a retired fire deputy fire chief. There, I got it right. And so we just evacuated to actually a hotel just a few doors down from our church.
Okay.
And then smoke was still coming under the door through the night. And this friend called the next morning and said, you need to get out of there. The air quality is terrible. We've got plenty of room here. So we went down to Huntington Beach and stayed with them for about 5 weeks. And that was such a godsend. I mean, on one hand, it was tough because he had it on the TV all the time.
Oh.
And I wasn't sure I wanted to keep seeing it. But there were plenty of rooms to go into.
Yeah.
So, and she was paying attention to all the tips they were giving. And she was like, here, I printed this out. You need to call your mortgage company. You need to call your insurance company. So she really helped walk me through because it was hard to think. It was really hard to just think straight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Our area, it didn't actually have the official evacuation yet. We were just kind of like, I was a little bit packed and like ready. But then all my family that's in Illinois was like texting, calling me. They're like, what are you doing? Just leave right now. Like, because my stepdad especially was just like, you don't want to leave at the last minute when they tell everyone to leave. You could get stuck in traffic. Like, and so then I was stressed because like I am from the Midwest. And even though I've been out here a long time, I haven't been that close to the fires before. And so hadn't experienced that. And I was like, okay. And so I got like stressed. And then I'm like, I think I was just posting on Instagram. And then I had a friend be like, just come here. And I was like, okay. And so I had a series of like packing because in the beginning I just didn't even know. I'm like, am I supposed to pack like everything, like I'm never coming back here, or am I supposed to pack like just for a few nights like that? And my brain just couldn't think because I didn't understand like what was going on. And so my first time packing, I just kind of did essentials and then threw some extra stuff in my car because I was like, I still have time, I should like throw this other stuff. And then I ended up moving to a different friend's house like that next day or something, and I did 2 different trips of like more stuff because we still weren't sure but like we were still fine, but I didn't take everything that I cared about. And so I was like, it could still burn down. And then I was like, should I risk it and go back and get more stuff? And I did. I filled up my car again and came back. I was like, I want my keyboard. I don't even really play, but I was like, I've had that since I was 7th grade. I mean, so yeah, it was just interesting to like my brain. It was very hard to like think fast and like figure out. And I can't imagine for you when it was actually like about to hit your house and like that was it, like you had to leave,
Yeah, I had a go box of important papers. The all the stuff about my home, the title, or I don't have the title, but important papers and a couple of important photo albums. I'm glad I just remembered that because I thought all the photos were gone. Yay. But from a couple years prior when there was ash and we had an evacuation warning, and so but this, I got a notice on my phone at, I think it was about 6:30, and it said evacuation warning, check Genesis app. So then I went on my laptop and I checked the app and I could put in my actual street address and it showed zones. And so my zone was clear, was normal as it said. The next zone was normal. 2 zones east had the evacuation warning. And then a little while later it was actually evacuate. And again, it showed my zone and the next zone east being normal. And so I kept believing that. And actually I had people texting me saying, hey, are you okay? Should you leave? And I was like, no, we're fine. It says Genesis. And I wasn't looking out the window. I went back to the window on the couch doing this. And so then I actually called or texted my son, who's in Arizona. But I was like, think for me. Right?
Yeah.
Like, do I need to go? This says this and this says this. And he was like, start grabbing stuff. And then that's when the lights went out and I could see it. And so, yeah, so at least I had that go box still from a while back. So
Yeah.
I got many, not all, but many important papers.
Okay.
But then, yeah, not much else.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I was doing the same thing. I was just looking at the app. I'm like, well, we're still fine. Then it was my family in the Midwest. I was like, why are you still there? I'm like, because they're going to tell us when we have to leave. And I was just trusting that,
Yeah.
which like technically our house did end up being fine, but I mean, there was so much smoke. I mean, we did have to like clean up everything when we got back, so. Anyway, that's been kind of what Kelly's been going through.
Yep,
it's kind of
navigating
rough,
that.
but she's doing pretty well considering, as far as I can tell. But we really want to get into your dance story because I just love the part I already know about it, but I'm excited to hear more. So, yeah, and I can't remember even everything that you told me before. So, talk to us about where you grew up. How did you get started in dance, Kelly?
Where I grew up, I was born in Columbus, Ohio. We lived in Bethesda, Maryland, Poughkeepsie, New York, Cincinnati, Ohio, all over the place. But I got started in dance. Okay, picture little 4-year-old Kelly, pigeon-toed, legs turned in. My mom took me to dance classes because the doctor suggested that would, like ballet is turnout, right? Mm-hmm. So it would help my legs turn out and strengthen the muscles. And we went to studio after studio. And the teachers looked and they saw the metal bars down my legs. And they're like, no, don't know what to do with her. Finally,
you're like, we're not doctors.
Exactly. Yeah. And finally, one teacher, and this is I'm not remembering all the words, right? But my mom told me about this. One teacher said, well, yeah, you can, there's a little chair here. She can sit in the chair. You can go run your errands and come back and get her. And I didn't stay in the little chair. I wanted to dance like all the other kids, right? So, yeah. So that's how I started, leg braces and all. Eventually it wasn't that much longer. Got to ditch the leg braces, and yeah, patience, practice, and persistence paid off because
Wow.
I showed them. I got to be a Rockette in the Radio City Christmas Spectacular and have a 20-year professional dance career.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a huge blessing. Much later in life, I realized, wow, I should find that doctor and write a thank you. But
yeah, he had no idea that they were like setting your whole career
set
path.
my career path, exactly.
Where
exactly.
where were you at when you were going to that ballet studio that did accept you?
We were in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Okay.
And it's like a chorus line, up a steep and very narrow stairway, right? It really was. It was upstairs. Had to walk away up the stairs. Yeah, that was really interesting. We were put on point shoes earlier than really now I understand is ideal. But my best girlfriend, Gina, was able to just do forays across the floor.
Wow.
I kept kind of falling off the shoes, so I got hollered at and sent to the back of the room, and the next, I don't even remember how many classes, I had to stand with my back to the class and just do releves, heel raises,
just to build
essentially.
The strength.
Just to build the strength, which technically we should have been doing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Hi, everyone. So I wanted to tell you about my new book, The Tracy in LA Newsletters 2010. This is my very first memoir. There will be more. It's not like a normal memoir where you're looking back on your life and reflecting on it and writing a book about it. It's more like a memoir in real time. So basically, when I very first moved to LA to pursue acting, which was in 2009, I decided I was going to write these like monthly newsletters where I sent out actual letters in the actual mail to a bunch of my friends every month to give them updates on what I was doing with acting and jobs and friendships and all kinds of things that I was going through my very first time ever living in LA. It ended up being pretty humorous, and so I've basically gone back and edited them so that I could publish them as a book. So that's what this is, and yeah, if you want to be entertained and have a good laugh, buy my book, or if you just want to help me pay my rent next month. Oh, and you can get it on Amazon. The Tracy in LA Newsletters 2010 by Tracy Nicole. Nicole is my middle name. Also, there's a link in my Instagram bio. You can get it paperback or on Kindle.
How long did it take in the ballet classes for your legs to just like to get the braces off and to just have them be just like not pigeon-toed anymore? Was that a long time or was it pretty quick?
It was relatively quick. I want to say a year or two.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't too bad. I still have a little thing, though, that people have sometimes said, like, what is that? There's a little bony part that sticks out here. So something to do with, because they didn't twist my whole leg from the thigh bone. They just twisted from knee down.
Okay. Was there a certain point when you were like, oh, I actually just love ballet. I love being here. I love dancing, or...
Yeah, that's a good question. And I actually just remembered that wasn't the first studio. That's the first one I remember clearly. But there was, I think it was in Bethesda, Maryland, there was like a creative dance class.
Oh, okay.
That was the first place.
Okay.
That was the first place, yeah.
And then you guys moved.
And then we moved.
And then you tried
and
there.
Tried there, yes.
Okay.
And actually for a while I quit. And my mom kind of, when we were in Cincinnati, she kind of finagled getting me back.
Now, why did you quit?
I think...
Was your legs already pretty much like healed by that point?
Yeah, my legs had healed. It was like middle school age. I think I had just gotten tired of the atmosphere in the studio where we were, and when we moved, I was like, it's a fresh start. Let me find other things I want to do. But my mom, I think she knew how important it had become to me, and a few things. She didn't want me to have the negative taste in my mouth. She wanted me to at least finish with a positive experience and choose to finish that way. And frankly, I think she had always wanted to dance, and her parents made her take piano lessons and ice skating. Because one afternoon, I don't remember for sure what grade it was, but probably 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade. She said, we're going to run some errands. We'll go see a movie and blah, 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 blah. And then, let's just stop here on the way. And we go upstairs again, up narrow stairway to a dance studio. And we're watching class. And I'm like, wait a minute. But yeah, then I couldn't not.
When you saw it.
I saw it, I was like, I want to be in
it.
here. Yeah. Yeah.
Was there like something specific about the previous environment that made you not want to do it?
Yeah, it was pretty harsh, certainly by the standards these days. I mean, then, ballet mistresses, they had their yardstick and they pounded the rhythm and they walked by and whacked you. And,
wow.
And I felt punished just because I wasn't strong enough to go across the floor.
Yeah.
So, things like that.
Yeah. And then did it feel different at the new place, or was it still kind of like that?
No, it felt a lot different.
Okay.
It felt a lot different.
And that was in New York?
That was in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, that was in Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you're doing ballet, you're getting stronger, you're doing point. And at that point, were you feeling like, I want to become a professional dancer?
No, I didn't think that it was really particularly realistic or that it was possible.
Oh, okay.
It was just what I did to express myself. I was verbal, I talked, but not as far as expressing emotions. The dance classes really helped transform me from this dejected little girl who tripped over her toes into a joyful young adult. And
Nice.
I felt more confident when I was dancing. I felt that I could express myself. I could process my emotions. So yes, it became very important for me and was right alongside academics. I was very into academics.
Oh, okay.
So I did all the advanced placement classes I could, and I planned to be, first it was a pediatrician, but then after teaching a lot of little kid dance classes, the other extreme was like, I'm never having kids. They wear me
I've
out.
done my time.
I've done my time,
with
exactly. Exactly. And I pretty much became like the nanny for my dance teacher's kids.
Oh, okay.
I kind of became her right arm, so helping teach classes and then also going to her home with her and helping.
Wow. And
So
that was when you were like how old?
That was in junior high and high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was until I graduated from high school. So, yeah, I switched from wanting to be a pediatrician to wanting to be an orthopedic surgeon.
Oh, wow.
And then I taught an adult beginner tap class, and one of the students was an ER nurse, or not an ER nurse, but she was an OR nurse, excuse me. And I told her what I wanted to do, and she's like, oh, well, let me get you cleared to come into surgery with me sometime. I was like, great. The smell of the burning bone.
Ooh.
Oh, my goodness. I was,
Oh, wow.
okay, I might not be able to do this.
Good thing you had that experience, I guess,
Right?
before you went to a bunch of school.
Right? Well, and still, actually, I still did wind up going to school, starting school as pre-med, and I figured I'll figure out what area. But yes, my graduation from high school gift from my parents was to put me up in an apartment in Evanston, Illinois for the summer. I said, they didn't say, I said to get the dancing out of my system because I wanted to get into the 6-year med program at Northwestern University. I didn't get into that, but I got into undergrad as pre-med. And so there's a great dance studio there, Gus Giordano's Jazz Dance Chicago. And so I got a scholarship and I danced all summer long and had the apartment and was all excited because I got a waitressing job at TGI Fridays. No, it was Bennigan's. And yes, and then started university in the fall and just assumed that I could do all through junior high and high school. I was able to excel in the dance studio and able to excel at school. So why would it be any different?
Yeah.
It was a huge wake-up call because everybody else on scholarship could be at the studio all day and in the evening, whereas I was in classes during the day, university classes during the day, so I could only get to the studio at night. So I was seeing them progress much more quickly than I was. Some FOMO, I'm sure. I didn't want to miss the combinations that were done earlier in the day. And then I was doing well, but not to my standards in my classes. And I had a work-study job at the library. This is back when you actually had books and you had to line them up with the Dewey Decimal System. And everything came to a head at one point. I had a roommate who, I don't know if people these days even know this reference. I'm dating myself. But there was a TV show with Jack Klugman and Tony Randall, The Odd Couple.
Oh.
And one guy is fastidiously neat and tidy, and the other guy's a slob.
Okay.
And there's stuff all over the place. Well, I'm not fastidious. I had some stacks of books or some papers, but you could come into our dorm room and it looked like there was just a tape line down the center between my side with a couple of pieces of folded clothing and a couple of stacks of books, and the other side where there was just dirty clothes. There were a couple of bites of a cheeseburger. There were sugar packets. And then I would get back at 9 or 10 at night from the dance studio and start doing my homework and finally crash at like 1 in the morning. And she'd come in and get her toothbrush and go out, and come in and get her toothpaste and go out. And so I was already like on edge. And then one day I had all the books all lined up on the little wooden carrel, and the floor of the elevator didn't quite line up, and I kept trying to get it up and over, and I knocked it over. The books went everywhere. The carrel was tipped on its side. The elevator doors started trying to close and, bouncing back, and I lost it. I lay down on the elevator floor and cried.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so I called my parents and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm not doing well at either thing, and I'm used to doing well at both. And so fortunately my parents, especially my dad, because I wanted to impress him more. Why he said, school's going to be there. Why don't you take a break? See what happens with the dancing.
That's cool that he said that.
That was very cool that he said that. Yeah. So then I started on scholarship full-time, started auditioning, got a cruise ship job, and worked on cruise ship for 6 months, and then moved to New York City.
Wait, how was the cruise ship job? Can you talk about that at all?
It was fun. It's a great thing to do when you're a young person. Yeah, I mean, we were on a smaller ship. It was Norwegian Cruise Lines. It was the MS Starward. And so we also had to double as some cruise staff. So we got cruise staff uniforms, and we'd have to help, like, on the day when people get on board, direct them to their cabins, help run bingo games. And then we had 2 shows that we did, and each one we did twice that night because there's an early dinner seating and a late dinner seating. And yeah, I met my best girlfriend. My roommate is my best girlfriend, and we can go not talking to each other months and months and months, and then pick up as if no time had passed, and got to travel and dance
Yeah.
and get paid in cash and go to the beach and yeah.
That's so cool. So you did the cruise for 6 months?
It was a 6-month contract, and in all fairness, I did start getting antsy after about 4 months, 4 or 5 months, because you do the exact same thing. I mean, you can take different, once you're at a port, you can take a different tour, you could go to a different beach or whatever, but yeah, you can't just say, oh, I feel like going to a movie at 4 p.m. because you'll miss the ship.
Yeah.
You have to get back on. So, yes.
Did you ever did you start to get tired of doing the same dances over and over? Or was that, do you have a fresh energy for that every time through the whole thing?
For the most part, yeah, I didn't get tired of it. I think there might have been a number or two that I wouldn't have minded not having to do again. But for the most part, it was fun.
Loved it.
I
That's
just
so
loved
cool.
it. So.
Obviously it's a gift for someone to just enjoy it the whole time and and so also, did you end up taking all different styles growing up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did that
Started
just
with
slowly
creative
start?
movement and then ballet, and then pretty much right away, most of the classes when you're a little kid were half ballet and half tap.
Yeah.
So started with that, and then slowly they introduced jazz, and then as a young adult I started taking modern.
Okay.
So yes, I had training in all, and actually ballet was, I continued to take it because it's foundational.
Yeah.
But it was never my strength. I mean, it was, my legs naturally turned in. In
Yeah.
ballet, your legs are supposed to turn
Yeah.
out. So it didn't come naturally to me at all, but it was a great way to build strength and technique.
Yeah. And what would you say was your favorite style growing up?
Probably tap.
Oh, really?
I really enjoyed tap
Interesting.
dancing.
Okay.
Yes. And briefly when I was in Evanston and took the leave from Northwestern, why I got to be in it was called AMFM, I think. I got to be in a tap dance company.
That's interesting. I actually interned as an admin, some type of admin for a tap dance company in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
It was called I think BAM was the name of the tap company, and then it was associated with Chicago Human Rhythm Project. I'm kind of forgetting now because it was so long ago.
Right, that's why I'm
the guy's name was Alexander Lane. I'm pretty sure Lane Alexander.
Lane Alexander.
Thank you. Okay, I'm wow, it's coming back to me. I only did it for I don't remember if it was 3 months, 4 months, 6 months or something. But I'd help schedule the tap company at different schools they were performing at and stuff like that. I took a little bit of tap as well. And I remember when I was at the schools with the tap company, the guys in the group were Tracy, when are you going to get up here? And I'm but I really wanted to. I was I want to tap, I want to be on stage. But yeah, it was very cool because they just, it looked amazing. And I have never stayed super consistent with tap. I want to get back into it, but I love tap. So I was oh, that's so cool. I didn't realize that you tapped and stuff. So
tap's my favorite.
Okay, so cool. So then, so you did the cruise, and then so after the cruise, then what? At that point, were you okay, I guess I'm a dancer? Or were you still wanting to go back to school or thinking about that?
I still figured I'd go back to school at some point.
At some point, okay.
But I wasn't in a hurry.
Yeah.
So I believe after that, I got a sublet in, my mom had an artist. My mom was an artist, medical illustrator, and then fine art. And she had a friend who was an artist who lived in Chelsea.
Okay.
And so she had an extra room, so I got to sublet. And I would take the train from 28th and 8th up to Steps at 76th and Broadway or something, and take a couple of classes. And I think they were each an hour and a half. So dance for 3 hours, go down to the Zabar's and get a bagel with cream cheese, go up, dance for 3 hours or a little more, go down to the Walgreens and get a box of cherry dots, and then go back up. And
wait, what are cherry dots?
Cherry dots? Oh, they're the like jujubes.
Oh,
only they're
okay,
all
okay.
cherry flavored.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, terrible. Like, it's amazing to me now that my body did all it did for me when I was doing, like, not
I
helping
feel
it.
like dancers sometimes are some of the worst eaters
Yeah.
because we're just like going from class to class. And I like a lot of the ones I've interviewed too, it's like just living off like granola bars and these random little, candy snacks. Like, I'm like, wait, we're the ones that are supposed to have like the healthiest body.
Healthy, yeah. Yeah, and all the demands we're
But
placing on it. But then again, I guess the sugars, the quick energy,
yeah,
right?
and then the
We
schedule.
didn't know about the sustained energy with
Right.
protein.
Okay, so when you went to New York, were you just did you already have some sort of job lined up, or were you just like
no,
taking
no.
classes and stuff?
I was just taking classes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just taking classes. I did wind up, I'm kind of mixing up now my
Yeah.
timing. It was so long ago. At one point, I did decide I wanted to go back to school, but for theater. So I went to the American Music and Dramatic Academy in
Okay.
New York to add the acting and the singing.
Oh, okay.
At some point, I had some voice lessons, but then that was really like an intensive, immersive.
And did you have to work during that, or were you able to
Yeah.
just do that?
No, I worked. Trying to remember which jobs I worked. Early on, my dad helped me, and I didn't have to work. But then I like coat checked, I waitressed.
Okay.
Oh yeah, one time after getting back from summer stock, I worked at that's what it was. Yeah, I worked at Sophia's Italian restaurant. And the manager one night decided that he lost too much wine to me, and I got fired. And I was so like, I'm fired.
Lost too much wine. What does that mean?
One bottle of wine that I went to open, I broke some cork into it,
Oh, okay.
and I got fired for that.
Dang.
But somebody, at an audition or something, and actually a girlfriend I knew from Gus Giordano's, from Evanston, I ran into her in New York, and so she kind of got me in the loop. And Madison Square Garden was hiring for their suite attendants. So I got a much better job.
Nice.
That paid much better.
Like it worked out.
It all worked out. And then it's seasonal, right? So then you finish, and people were saying, oh, now go get on unemployment if you don't have summer stock job. I'm like, well, you don't want to get on unemployment. I shouldn't. Well, that's just what you do, right? So it just all along the way, I had people watching out for me.
Yeah, kind of teaching you the ropes.
Yeah.
And so then when did you get your first, what was going on with dance when you were there? Did you get...
I was auditioning a lot.
Okay.
A lot. And I got various off. Like I got a dinner theater job somewhere in New Jersey briefly. And then I got summer stock jobs. I did a summer series at Hampton Playhouse in Hampton, New Hampshire.
Okay.
And then I got to do Cherry County, Michigan. And then I got to do Fish Creek, Wisconsin, Peninsula Players. So
So were you moving all these places?
just for the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you would come back. And then, so how did that end up leading you to the Rockettes?
Just over the years, back and forth, going from one sublet to another, auditioning. Why, actually 1 year. Oh, and then after I graduated from AMDA, I was asked to come back and substitute teach some, and then I was given my own classes. So that was really,
Nice.
really, really nice. Yes, because then they understood, I could call in and say, I'm stuck at an audition. I really
Yeah.
tried not to do that. But so, 1 year I made it all the way to the end for the Rockettes. And that was like 2 or 3 days of auditioning and them cutting. And then we were given this form to fill out that said the various other locations they were having companies sit down and we could express our interest. So I was like, my travel bug, so I went, Mexico City. Yeah, I want to be in Mexico City. So I put that as my first choice, I think, and then New York is my second choice. And I didn't get a call. I was bummed, but okay. And then the next year it came around again, and I auditioned again, and I got all the way through again. And then that time we were actually living in San Francisco. And got a call. I got Mexico City. Learned later that they had not added Mexico City the year before. So who knows if I would have gotten cast or
okay.
not. But since that was my preferred, right? And so then I found a a Spanish immersion class called Casa Hispana. She would only speak Spanish to us because I didn't want to be that, jerk American
Yeah.
speaking English to the stagehands, right? So I learned enough to get by.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. But then the wild thing, they rehearsed us in Myrtle Beach, which is sea level. But then they flew us to Mexico City, which is, I don't remember now, 14,000 feet or something. Anyway, altitude.
Yeah.
So nasty altitude headaches
Oh,
the first few
man.
days. And then they actually had to have oxygen in the wings for us because the first number is about 10 minutes long.
Wow.
And it winds up with like at least 2 minutes of jump, kick your face, jump, kick your
Yeah.
face. So it was before reality TV shows, but it would have made the greatest behind the scenes reality TV show because we would run off stage from that, suck up oxygen,
Wow.
and then run up 2 flights of stairs. Our dressing rooms were 2 flights of stairs up, change costumes, run back down, and then get in the wings and, okay, ready to go on for the next number.
Wow.
It's
That's
wild.
so interesting that you say that because I have very little like stage performing experience. I've mostly just been taking classes for like 8 years and doing a lot of, class performances in front of a camera. But so I've only recently kind of had my first 2 like dance performances. Like I've done like musical theater when I was younger, but
Okay.
never just like a dance show. And literally I'm like that first big performance I was in, I could have used some oxygen on the side. I mean, there
Right.
was not an altitude issue, but like I just didn't understand like I don't know, at least for me, going on like an actual stage in like a decent sized venue, like there was nerves that kind of shut my like saliva down, and then also it was a very like one of the pieces I was in was just very cardio like heavy,
Yeah.
and you were out there a lot and doing a lot of like flipping around and stuff, and I didn't realize the mix of like nerves and my dry mouth and like so much exertion. I felt like I like couldn't breathe, and I'm like, oh, I could have used some oxygen in the wings. Like
Right.
I was like, that's a good idea. But yeah, I can't imagine like 20 minutes and then also like running up and downstairs
Up and
for
downstairs.
costumes, and that's like so crazy.
was
And
wild.
also I wanted to ask you, what was your Rockette? What was the audition experience like? Like I know I'm sure I feel like auditions have just changed so much since back then, just with like everything. I don't know how the Rockettes do it now, but like
right.
videos and everything. But like,
Right.
how was the Rockettes audition like back then? Like, what did they have you do? What did you have to kind of
We
go
had to
through?
get measured, very first thing.
Oh.
Is because the line, at least at that point, was 5'5" to 5'10". So if you were
Okay.
shorter than 5'5", excuse me, or taller than 5'10",
couldn't do it.
you couldn't even learn the
Okay.
combination.
Wow.
So first they did that, and they call them girls, as you know, probably for musical theater, right? No matter how old you are as a female
yeah.
dancer, you're not a woman, you're a girl.
Okay.
So there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of girls there.
Wow.
And they took us in the room probably 50 to 80 at a time and taught us a combination facing the mirrors. And then once they felt they had given us enough time, the table with the dance captain, the producer, the director, yada yada, the creative team was behind the way we were facing when we learned it. So we had to turn around, and I think they put us in groups of 4 or 5, staggered, zigzagged, and we had a number on, and we had turned in picture and resume, and I think they'd written, our number on the picture and resume, and went through that 80 to 100 girls, and then once all of us did it, then they would call out the numbers of people to stay and the numbers of people, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And that went on all day long
Yeah.
one day. And then when we got to, 5 or 6 o'clock, those of us that got called, why we were to come back again tomorrow, and then did that. So we learned in several numbers or sections
Yeah.
of several of the numbers.
Now, were you someone that kind of likes the audition experience? Was it like invigorating, or did you kind of hate it?
Nerve-wracking.
Okay.
Nerve-wracking. Yeah. I mean, I loved the learning part. I loved learning the choreography.
Yeah.
But yeah, once we had to turn and face the table, it was a lot of adrenaline and a lot of nerves. Yeah.
Wow. How long were you a Rockette for?
Just one contract.
Okay.
And yeah, on one hand, sometimes I have a little bit of a bittersweet feeling about that. It's like that was the pinnacle, and I finally made it, and I got my show coat, and but that that was when we were in the Bay Area, and I got, I guess I told you, I didn't tell the audience about, so when I came back, we were living in my husband's work had put us up in an apartment, and we were in Mill Valley, and got a postcard from Mill Valley Health Club and Spa that was promoting, free 2 weeks membership. And so I started thinking, wow, that'd be great. I'd get to stay in shape. And I wonder if they'd even have, a certification program, because I'm getting up there, and I had said, don't ask me to have kids until we've been married 10 years, and 10-year mark was coming up.
Okay.
And so I was like, I knew Dan's career was to be winding down soon. And so I had that little fantasy going, visualization, whatever, maybe a prayer. And then I went in, and the owner, Michael Huber, took me on a tour, and all the gym facility was downstairs, gym and weights and an open space for group classes and a spa area. And he had me do some of the machines, and he commented on my form being very good. And I said, I'm a dancer, so that helps. My girlfriend's a dancer. Okay, cool. And then walked across a really nice courtyard upstairs to the Pilates studio. It was kind of like being in a tree house, and it looked great. And then he walked me back down to his office, and we sit down in this little office, and I'm like, here goes the sales, and making me nervous because this is a very high-end place, and I'm on unemployment.
Yeah, you're like, I just wanted the 2
I
weeks.
just wanted the 2 weeks. So I pretty much said that. I laugh at myself now because I don't remember myself as being that straightforward. But yeah, I just said, Michael, your facility is amazing. It's beautiful. But I'm on unemployment. I just finished a show. And now you're telling me the Pilates costs extra. So unless you have some sort of a certification program, I'll be using the gym equipment for the next 2 weeks to stave off getting out of shape, and you will never see me again. It's like, and yeah, I really think it's a God thing. Why the fact that he had a soft spot for dancers, and the woman that ran the Pilates program there, he said, Carol Appel, wonderful, wonderful woman. She, let me call up. We might even have a scholarship. She's an ex-dancer. She was danced in New York. She blew out her knee. She became a Pilates trainer. She was certified by Romana Krasnowska. And so he called up to her, and she said, I'm running out. I got to go. Give her my home number. Have her call me if she's got questions. No, we don't have any more scholarships left. And so he said, well, you know what? I can see from your form that it wouldn't take me long to teach you some of the equipment you don't already know. How about if I give you a job as a floor trainer and give you hours that work around when you would need to be in the certification program for Pilates, and then barring some unforeseen thing, you would just then transfer over to being an employee in the Pilates studio. And that way you'll have the freedom to audition for more shows if you want, because if you have a scholarship, you're ours. You have, you don't get to do that. So that was the best of all possible worlds. Had a wonderful conversation with Carol that night. It made me so nervous. I think it was like $3,000, and I was just, but, and so then I got to work there. I got to do a couple of other shows. I got to do Victor Victoria down at American Musical Theater of San Jose. I got to do Guys and Dolls at, it was farther north. I'm spacing it out at the moment. And yeah, then when it came time, when I got the call to ask if I wanted to come to the callbacks to kind of re-audition, or part of me really wanted for the Rockettes.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I am getting back to the beginning. Part of me wanted to do it again because I had worked so hard to get that, but part of me was really, it hadn't been as positive an experience as I would have liked. I didn't go into that. I didn't want to complain. So I was feeling really good at the Pilates studio, and I had regular clients. And so I decided, I want to stick with this. So I didn't go back. So I was just a one-hit wonder there.
Wow. So you just kind of felt like that was now your time to kind of sort of just switch
Start
career paths
transitioning
and not, so you didn't
career
really audition for any dance after that at that point?
I had auditioned for the ones I mentioned,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Guys and
but
Dolls,
outside of that-
AMTSJ, and then I also got to do Pippin somewhere in San Francisco. But then outside of that, no, that was it.
Did you feel like pretty good about that? Like you were like, I think I did enough of what I wanted to do with dance.
At the time, I thought I did, and I was also feeling like I needed to keep my word to my husband about being ready to start a family.
Yeah, yeah.
There were some times, if there was a show in town and we went to see it, yeah, I'd get kind of teary. I want to be up there.
Aww.
But that, over time, that subsided, and yeah, I certainly didn't miss auditioning.
Yeah, oh, that's so funny. It's funny because, like, I mean, I haven't done a lot of dance auditions, although I did do a couple random dance auditions when I first moved to LA, but I used to do acting, and I actually really, not that there weren't any nerves, but I really liked auditions. Sometimes I liked auditions more than if I got the part.
Fascinating.
Because I would get bored sometimes. Like auditions were always, like, new, and you could do whatever you wanted, and, like, for me, it was almost like less pressure. But then once you're like cast, to me that was like, oh, this is pressure. Now I have to be exactly what they want. I have to make sure I take the notes correctly. What if they don't like me as much as they did in the audition? For some reason, I had more nerves after being cast than I did. I'm like, I thought the auditions were like fun. I'm like, I liked going in that room and being like, wow. Like it was kind of like a roller coaster. I just thought it was like fun, but also it wasn't like as vigorous as like an all day dance audition.
Yeah, often they were all day.
A little different, yeah. But wow. So then you just stuck with Pilates for a while.
It's been 25 years.
Wow. And then and you never ended up going back to school for like the medical stuff. Did that ever start? Had that kind of been pushed aside?
No, there were a few times where it came to mind and I felt a little disappointed with myself. I felt like I had a scholarship. But yeah, that's just not what happened. And then I started realizing, yeah, I need to be able to like be outside. I think that's what it was. We went to visit my grandfather. He was in the hospital for something. And the stale air in there and how cold it was and not much in the way of natural light. I mean, now they really try to make my son's dad, former husband, just retired from being an architect, and he worked in medical architecture. So he was part of helping bring, cool. light, natural light into spaces, etc. But then I just remember thinking, yeah, I don't know if I'd want to be in this environment 24/7.
Yeah.
Or not 20, but
It seems like the times you got in that environment, you were like,
yeah,
maybe this isn't for me.
Yeah, it didn't
like something
fit.
doesn't feel right.
Intellectually, it sounded like something I wanted to do. I was fascinated. My mom had been a
Yeah.
medical illustrator, so we had medical books, and I loved, I loved looking at those, and I loved the TV shows Trapper John MD, and way before your time.
I'm like, I don't know that, but okay.
Google it. Yeah, so.
Wow. That's so, I mean, but obviously you have a brain for like the science of things. Like I can
like
tell
the science.
when you're
I
explaining
got to
stuff,
nerd out
so
on the science.
It's cool
of
that
things.
you can apply that to Pilates, and you're still working with helping people and
helping people exactly
in a similar
helping
way,
people in a similar way,
but in a different environment, which
exactly.
sounds like that's what you needed.
Exactly.
So it seems perfect.
Exactly. It
Okay.
has been perfect.
I'm like, we're gonna wrap it up soon, but like, I do want to know: would you ever, at this point, like, would you ever consider like going to a dance class or taking some sort of dance opportunity if it came up? Like, do you feel like that's still in you, or like that you could do it if something came up?
I think it's still in me. I think my learning choreography, retaining it, has probably gone down a bit. But I did actually, when the marriage to my son's dad ended, it hadn't been my choice, so I really fell into a pit of depression, and church helped me get through it. Movement was a big lifeline, and so I actually did take some ballroom dance classes.
Oh, cool.
So, and the teacher initially was like, I need to get you to come to competitions with me, but I was panicked about money, newly divorced, and I had a 7-8-year-old son, and I was like, you know what? I got to do that. Been there, done that, had my time. I'm a mom now. I need this just for me.
Yeah.
So
that's so cool. It's really cool that you were able to say that and like know what you wanted. Like, I just want this, but I don't need this version of it.
Yeah.
Because I think, as you know, when you get like approached or picked or like someone notices you, it's hard not to be like, okay, yeah.
Right.
Like
exactly. Yeah, that was my first thing. I was like, oh, yeah. And then I realized,
like,
whoa,
wait a
minute,
second.
how am I going to do that?
Yeah. It seems like you had good clarity. That's really cool. I mean, I feel like if you did at any point decide to do something with dance, like, I think that those things would come back if you were
I imagine, yes,
doing
if I
something
had
regularly.
if I was doing it regularly, if I had regular rehearsals
Yeah.
or something, yeah.
Well, Kelly, this is so cool. I'm so glad I
you.
got to hear like
This was
just
fun.
more of your
Thank
story,
you.
and I'm sure that's gonna like inspire a lot of people, and just
I
like
hope so.
I just love hearing the different versions of like dance success and just like life, because it's just different for every single person, and I think that us knowing that about each other like helps the competition or jealousy fade, because you're like, we all just have different stories, and just like you were even saying, just having clarity about what you wanted in that season. It's like not every single version of a dance story, success story, is for every single person. It's like everyone's lives are different, and emotions and who they are and opportunities that come. And just the fact that you even started doing Pilates because of like a little like promotional card that came in the mail, like
Well, in all fairness, I had an introduction to it a few years earlier when I got to do Crazy for You in Fish Creek, Wisconsin. One of the other women in the cast had been a friend, and she had been in the national tour of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and when in New York had stepped off a curb and gotten hit, and fortunately not hit super badly, but it did kind of wreck her neck. And the doctor said, the orthopedist said, yeah, you probably want to come up with a different career. But through physical therapy and then into modified Pilates and then into full-on Pilates, rehabbed her neck, and we were doing shows
Oh, wow.
together.
So cool.
And so they allowed us, we were like, during rehearsals, okay, great, we're in shape, we're dancing 8 hours a day. But then once the show opens, how are we going to stay in shape in this little sleepy vacation town? I mean, it's lovely, but... And so they fed us in a lodge, and so they let us move all the furniture, and she led a mat class.
Oh, cool.
Each night before we needed to be backstage.
Yeah.
So that was my first introduction to Pilates a few years prior. And then, yeah, when I saw the postcard, I was like, oh, cool. And I could see myself, this is a natural segue. This is a natural retire from dancing and still have movement, because, I'd recognized by then how important movement is to me. It's really, and since then has been my lifeline. Getting into dancing, back into dancing, the ballroom dancing classes, working with my Pilates students, and then surrounding myself with encouraging, supportive people, being at CA and Women's Bible Study. Those are the things that helped pull me out of the pit I fell into when the marriage to my son's dad ended.
Wow. It's just so interesting, though, how it all just like comes together. And I know, and then in this season of your life, you're going through some hard stuff, from, well, maybe the most hard stuff. Well, divorce is also hard, but very. Losing your home. Man, sometimes you think if you go through something really hard, that has to be it. Like, there can't be anything else that hard. And then something like that happens. I mean, I can't even, like, imagine. But when you see how the other things, how God helped you through each thing and gave you new things and kept you going. And, like, I know that he's, like, opening doors now and doing things in, like, your rebuilding season. So we'll just keep praying that he just keeps... moving, and I'm so glad that movement is still a big part of your life. And I don't know, was there anything else you wanted to share that was on my question list, or anything, or any advice you want to give, or anything you want to end with or say?
I think just tapping back into what you said about I sure thought I met my quota with the divorce. It really knocked me for a loop. And then now there's more, that God, whether you believe in God or not, that we have inside of us a strong spirit to survive, and not just survive, but to thrive. And we just need to tap into it. And sometimes there's ashes, right? Fires, there's divorces, whatever. There's something that makes it hard to tap into it. But if we can start just slowly taking time to notice what helps us feel good, what helps us feel good about ourselves. Of course, healthy things, not drinking that numbs it or drugs or whatever. But, for me, being outside helped so much. When I started just spinning out shortly after the separation, why being outside, there was sun that hit the studio and it was stucco, and I would just like lean against that and feel the sun on my face and breathe. And slowly but surely, those things helped bring me through it. And it's not just me. I know so many people that have gone through really tough stuff and then thrive, then something else hits them, and you just have to not think you're going it alone, because everybody, like you said, everybody's got a story. And I think it also helps us be more compassionate for other people when we realize we don't know what their story is. And so let's, give people the benefit of the doubt, come alongside, be willing to ask for help. That was something that was really difficult for me. People said, "How are you doing?" "Fine." But now I say, you know what? I'm having a little bit of a rough time today.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. I got really into dance after going through like a hard breakup.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I need something that just like, distracts me, kind of makes me happy, that I like. And then I did not know that was going to lead to me being like obsessed with dance and wanting to dance all the time.
Dance will do
And
that.
God kind of used it to propel me into something that I actually felt what I was really called to do. And I thought I was losing my life when that breakup happened. Like, wait, I was supposed to get married. I was like, that's what I had planned. I mean,
Right.
it wasn't an actual engagement, but I had this whole plan in my head, and I felt like I lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, like, I gained so much. I just didn't know the plan,
Right? That's the thing, is like, God, won't you just tell me the plan ahead of time?
I know there's reasons he doesn't tell us everything right away,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
anyway, Kelly, thanks for being like vulnerable and like sharing, because I think that so many people
Thank
can
you.
relate, and that's such a cool thing to be able to do. So thanks for taking time. I'm glad we finally made this happen.
Me too.
And thanks
Me
for the
too.
Pilates session. And
My pleasure.
I guess we'll just continue to follow your journey and see where it leads. But thank you guys for listening and
Yes,
watching,
thank
and
you.
please subscribe and like and all those things. And we will see you next time.
Yep. Be encouraged. See ya.
Bye.